You can save the contents of the current view window as a saved view. Doing this allows you to recall the saved view so that any selected view window will display that saved information. Everything about the view is saved: the zoom factor, the elements in the view, the level, arrangement, etc. And I've provided more general information about save views in a later video. The save view system is particularly useful when working with references. The advantage is that instead of attaching the entire design file and then either clipping out or masking areas, you can arrange the saved views to show only the information you actually need. When you attach the save view, all that displays is the information in that saved view. For example, if you were drawing a series of small, unrelated details that you intended to arrange together in one drawing for printing, you could make individual save views of each detail and then attach them to a single title block drawing. In that way, you could easily control the display of each detail and be able to position the save views to best advantage in the title block sheet. In the exercise that follows immediately, you will use save views, but in a slightly different way. One of the useful options for references is that a design file can be referenced to itself. This is called self-attachment, and I mentioned it in the previous video. The advantage is that the self-attachment will update itself immediately on completion of a drawing or editing operation, in the same way that the current file is automatically saved after an operation is complete. Self-referencing is especially useful for orthographic views, where information is exchanged between views. Now we're going to use the same exercise that we used in the advanced AccuDraw videos, but this time you won't need the 45-degree diagonal line to develop the views. Instead, we're going to self-reference the views you need for the orthographic process. Now on the screen you'll see the step block drawing with dimensions. Dimensions are in master units, so you can use any measurement system you wish. And I've drawn the plan and front view to the right side there. If you would please draw the plan and the front to the dimensions given for the object, then we can continue. Now I'll wait till you come back having drawn that and continue with the video. If you prefer, you can draw the two views in the same file that you were using previously, which was likely the house design, or you can open a new design file just for this exercise. In my case, I've actually opened a new file called Step Block Design just for this exercise. And that's the file name I'll be using throughout this exercise. Now, assuming you've drawn the plan and the right side as shown, we'll start the exercise. We need to draw the right side view, which means we need to transfer information from both the front and the top view down to the right side view. But we won't be using the diagonal 45-degree line to do so. What we are going to do is attach a saved view of the top view and use that for the information transfer. Now first you need to make a saved view of the top. And to do that we need to zoom in so that we only see the top view in the view itself. Now you can use the mouse if you wish, or a simpler way is to use the window area tool and draw a window around the elements that you want to save in the view. That way you're guaranteed to get exactly what you need in the view. So there's my maximized top view, and now we need to save that as a saved view. You can open the Save View tool in a couple of different ways, of course. The first is to click on the Saved View icon in the primary toolbar, or you can go to Utilities and open Save Views this way. I'm going to use this method, it's quicker. Click on that. The Saved View dialog box displays, and we can save this view. Here's the icon for Create a Save View, so click on that. And the name is highlighted in the Tool Settings window. We need to change that. I'm going to make this Top. That's going to be the name of this saved view. And I'll hit Enter. It's asking me now if I want to make a description, which I don't. And the prompt on the status line says, select the source view. This means you simply have to click in the view that you want the saved view to come from. In this case, it's here, so I simply data point in the view. And the top saved view is now displayed in the Save Views dialog box. Make sure that's all happened, and when it has, you can dismiss that box for the moment. Let's zoom back out. Now at this point, that saved view has been saved inside this design file, and we need to attach that save view to our current drawing, which means that we need to self-attach the save view to the drawing as well. So now we need to start the reference process. We're going to attach, and we're going to attach the same file name that we're currently working in. In my case, that's step block. Now we don't need to attach the entire file. I only want that saved view. And if you open up your saved views item here in the orientation, you'll see that you have a top saved view in place. That's the one we want. So we select that. Everything else is fine. We say OK. And we are dragging the saved view on the cursor. Now this is different from referencing an entire file where it will normally be placed in the current design coincident, 0, 0. In this case, because it's a saved view, we can locate it anywhere we wish, which is very convenient. I'm going to plop it in place about there. So there's my saved view of the top. So now I need to rotate this reference, and I need the bottom edge of the top view to rotate downwards in a clockwise direction for the alignment with the right side view. Now, if I use the rotation tool here, rotate reference, what will happen is the contents of the reference will rotate, not the actual reference. So I can't use that tool. I must use the rotate tool in the regular toolbox. Before I can do that, however, I must select the actual reference. So make sure you select the reference with the element selection tool, then start the rotate tool. The angle I want is actually -90, enter, which gives me 270 in AccuDraw, which is quite correct. And I want to rotate about the center, which is more convenient than selecting a rotation point. When I go back in, I can see my rotation. It's rotated about the center. I left click, right click, and my rotation is there. That's what I need. Now, next step then is to possibly move this reference so that I have essentially an equal gap between the reference here and the top and the front view. Small adjustment. Now again, I'm going to use the tools here. Move tool, click and drag, and I'm going to drag down just a little bit too. So roughly equal spaces between all three views. Right click. I can now unselect that. I can dismiss the references box. And what I'm going to do now, of course, is to draw the right side view in this area here. And I have all the information I need now to do that. So let's start a line tool. And let's draw the right side view. I'm going to start here, F11, O key, come across, enter, find my starting point, come across, enter, find the width of the right side view. And that is one of the major points, of course, about using this method, is that I can immediately reference that width information, come down, enter, pick up the bottom corner, come across, enter, pick up the top corner, and go back to my starting point. I can quickly draw a line across here because I know it's exactly halfway according to the dimensions for the object. So it's obviously very quick to draw that right side view. Now, it doesn't have to be a right side view, of course. You can draw any of the three views from other views, as we'll see. Now, at this point, you might be thinking, well, big deal. That's useful, but it's, it's not that hot. But watch what happens when I do this. I'm going to add a rectangle to this drawing. There and there will do nicely. And I'm going to add a couple of circles to the top view as well. One there, and let's add another one there and there. Now see what's happened. As soon as I enter information in the top view, the same information shows up in the reference of the top view. Now that's interesting. And that's obviously extremely useful. So anything I do in this view automatically shows up in this view. And this is really what self-referencing is all about. If I delete the rectangle, it's deleted in the reference as well. Let me undo that. Back in again. So very powerful. Now it's easy to add hidden information. Start the line tool. Let's add the hidden lines for the circle. So F11 first, O key, drop down, enter, find my baseline there, drop down, enter, find the start point, and there. Let's add the remaining 3 of those. So do a copy. We'll start there, move along, enter, pick up that quadrant, move in this direction, enter, pick up that quadrant, and across this way, enter, pick up that quadrant. And while we're at it, let's do the same thing on the other side. We can now select that, run across this way, enter, find that quadrant, run across this way, enter, find that quadrant, and so on. So it becomes pretty straightforward. So please complete all of those hidden lines. I'm going to do that right now and then get back to you very shortly. And I'm back with all my hidden information in place. And you should have completed the same thing. Now, with a little thought, you'll probably realize that you can develop all 6 views of this object by self-attaching more views. And I've done this already for you in a different file, which I'm going to open. Open, and I've got step block all as a design. And what we see is this. Now, these are all 6 views, plus the necessary self-attached saved views. So if I open up my references box, we can have a look at exactly which are the views and which are the save views. The first one that's highlighted is the plan view, which we've just used. But notice that I have 3 others. I have 2 more top views. Let's pick that one. So that is a save view reference. That is a save view reference. That gets me information downwards. And I've also added a right view as a saved view as well. So that's a save view of the right side. Again rotated, and that gets me the information for the underside. So this is nice, but obviously I don't want to see those referenced in views. But that's a simple matter. You don't want to delete them from the drawing because you may well want to edit this drawing at some point. So the simplest way to do it is to turn off the display of these attached views. Very simple. This is the display option. Let's turn them all off. And all I'm left with now are the 6 views of this particular step block. But at some point, if I need to edit, I can redisplay those 4 attached views. So now you can see the power of self-attached files and the usefulness of saved views to only attach the information that you actually need. And as usual, you should practice. So I would suggest that you draw the remaining 3 views of this object yourself, so that you end up with the same drawing that I have here.